Wonderful. Can you hear me?
I, okay, this is even better. This is even better because what I have, welcome, Vita.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm sorry
Oh,
I missed you earlier. I was all prepared and I was like, but wait, I don't know the login.
I'm so
And
sorry.
but you've taught me something today because I've realized I was making things more difficult for myself, even with my session, because I keep repeating the link. So I think I confused myself because I was expecting a new link, which didn't need to be the case. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I hope you had a wonderful morning.
I did. I had a good morning in the class, in the session, and then we had a couple people, and and I thought, why not just do the Substack live instead of uh, the Zoom?
Yeah.
Because there are so many people that follow you on Substack anyway, and this week. So I'm going to take this recording and I'm going to drop it into an actual article, or I'll take this recording and I'll add the article with all of your answered questions. So people who are joining in today, they can read more about you because we already have Robert. Hi, Robert. Robert is not. Hi, Robert. This is Vita. We have Donna Frasca, Margaret. I saw Margaret join. Um, Margaret
Oh,
Williams joined.
thank
So
you.
this is fantastic. So,
Hey,
um,
everybody. Thank you so much, Laurie, for arranging this and for even thinking of having me. I really appreciate that.
oh, I think it's fantastic. And I think what you do is really fantastic. So, hi guys. So today we have Vita Wade. Vita Wade. I love your name, Vita, because in Italian, Vita is Vita, which is life.
That's it, and that's how my name should have been spelled. But
Uh,
like you might know, I'm living on Montserrat. That's where I was born and raised, and we have an active volcano. And all my life, I spelt my name Vita until I was getting ready to be evacuated to the UK, and we had to get a copy of my birth certificate, and they spelt it wrong.
Oh,
So by the So by the time I got to the UK, I had to stick with this new name. Not only did they spell it wrong, they put my birthday wrong. So I have two birthdays as well in the wrong sort. But I'm flowing with it. It's all good.
you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful, so sweet. Well, this is so great. So you're joining today. I knew Avita, she was an island girl. Well, this is another island girl as well, Donna. So maybe you know Vita from another, another life. So if you guys do have questions, I'll try to be mindful. I'll keep my eye on the chat there. So Vita will answer. Vita has already answered all of the creative journeys questions, which are like 13 of them. So, I wanted to do a chat because I like to in these interview series that, we could talk about. The whole point was for me initially when it came across to me that I wanted to do this interview series is to find out how creativity has helped people in their lives recover from a physical situation, an emotional, psychological situation. If creativity is just kind of a normal everyday tool that people use to process the stress of daily living. Um, but creativity is it's so many things to so many different people. And I just wanted to start asking people, how do you use creativity? Do you think about creativity in your life? Do you use it in your cooking? Do you use it in your housekeeping? Do you use it in your work? It doesn't have to be making paintings on the wall. So, and that's I don't remember. Oh, yes, I do remember how I came across Vita. She was doing a live like this, and you were talking from outside of your home in Montserrat, and I was like, well, this woman she looks very interesting. I wonder what she's talking about. I logged in, and then I learned a lot more about what you do, which is really fascinating and powerful. So I'm going to shut up and let you talk, do us an introduction about yourself and maybe the work you're working on now, and we can get to the creativity part in a little bit.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so, what do I do here? So, I'm on Montserrat and I actually work in ocean science and conservation. And I have a small nonprofit here, which I started from zero. Like, I literally had not a penny in the bank I had no knowledge about science. I had no knowledge about conservation, certainly not the political side of conservation, which is a whole different layer. And I had known nothing about nothing. Like I knew nothing about nothing. But I started because I wanted to, uh, uh, um, I wanted to get our community more connected to the ocean. I I felt there was a really big need after I had been evacuated to the UK. I came back in 2011 because I wanted to be part of my island's redevelopment. The island was destroyed in the volcanic eruptions. So we went from a population of 11,000 to about 5,000, and we've been dropping population since, really. It's been very hard when you're building an island again from scratch. So there's a big brain drain and other things happening in terms of not having a stable economy, but and being dependent on development aid too. So I was when I came back home, I was spending a lot of time with our local fishers. I really embraced after living in a almost like a concrete jungle, right? I'm living in a big city. I was living in London more like just before I came back home, and I wanted to immerse myself in nature. So I spent a lot of time with our local fishers. I was diving and swimming with them, and they built my confidence. And I was like, wow, is this like for real? Like I thought, like I had no idea that there was all this amazingness under the ocean. I didn't have the opportunity to learn to swim when I was a kid. I didn't know how to dive. I couldn't snorkel or anything like this. So I had built this confidence by the time I was older, like in my 20s. So when I came home, I just went for it. And then I was like, no, we have to get more people who visit the island to experience this from a local perspective. And we also want to get our children to understand that the ocean is more, is so much more. Like, yes, you have the marine environment and you have all these beautiful reefs. It's a fun place. It could be a sexy place, but it's also like an opportunity for people to create new jobs and to be inspired on how to innovate and things like this. So I started the organization with a piece of paper, front and back, saying to an international NGO, I want to help. I want to teach kids to swim. I want to get them involved in marine science. I don't need your money. Just give me some equipment and some scientific support. And they came to Wandsworth and they did. Like maybe some of you might know Dr. Iana E. Johnson, and she's a very well-known marine biologist, and she was working here briefly, and she signed off on it. And that was the birth of Fish and Fins. And 10 years later, we're still going. And so I do that. And in our work, we're kind of working more towards science. So I kind of coordinate some of the regional works around turtle science, and we're about to do a STEAM program for our young people here, like science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics as an after-school club. And and yes, I'm also wrapping up projects from last year, which some of it was to do with testing technology to be able to see the deep sea. Usually, you can't see below 200 meters very easily. It costs a ton of money. And so I was working with MIT to help, and the Ocean Discovery League under the management of Katie Croft Bell. And if you get National Geographic September edition, there's a whole article on that. Katie and her work. So, yes, I was part of that, and we were testing technology and getting the fishers involved and the community involved. So I'm all about community science. I'm all about what we can do ourselves without lots of international partners or international funds. But like, I'm all for that do-it-yourself movement. You know what I mean? So that's a little bit of me.
So when you came back, did you go to school? Because did you go to school for marine biology? Then I can't remember.
No, I didn't. I, s- I didn't go to school for marine biology, really. Most of what I've learned on the job. It's been
Okay.
really hands-on. But in 2023, I did actually go away to Cornwall. I was going to do my master's, but it turned into such a horrific experience. Oh my God. Well, I had my 13-year-old, my son was 10 or 9 at the time, and he went with me. So I'm a single mom, and my son and I went to the UK. Um, and, you know, I was hoping that my grandma and my mom, who were also in the UK at the time, might have been able to help me with childcare. But I realized they weren't doing very well. So I went with my son, and it was very difficult to get accommodation. It was difficult to get any support. I was already an adult, mature student, and I felt like I didn't get the support necessary. My grandma died later on, like within 6 months, and I um I gave up on it. I just had to, for my mental health and my mental well-being, I stopped because I was like, what am I trying to prove? Like, I'm doing this work. I know a ton. I um yes, it would be nice to have the initials behind my name, but do they mean much else? Because I'm not necessarily guaranteed of a job, and I am very conscious of my well-being. I'm conscious of my son needs me to be at the best I can be. I have to be able to take care of my family. My mom is elderly. No, and so I have to be good, and it wasn't good for me. I, for many reasons. So I did a bit of that, and I'm happy I got a glimpse of the science and the data and all these things, and it came back to me that, like, in my experience practically on the ground and with people, like ordinary people, a lot of science data and science research is going straight over people's head. It's going one in through one ear and out through the next. And it's way too technical. There's tons of spreadsheets and nobody's, and we need more artists. We need more artists. We need more storytellers. We need more creativity. We need that passion that it comes with as well. And you need more soldiers. You need more hands on deck. And I guess that's part of the reasons why I snuck out of LinkedIn and snuck into Substack. Because I was just like I hear you guys. We all and people are coming up with all these fancy papers
Yeah.
and attending amazing conferences and some are getting a ton of money. And how much impact are you really making with that money? And do the governments and the scientists and the local people even understand? Are they part of the story? There's so many questions here. So I am putting myself. I thought I'll shut off the noise. I'll escape social media. I'll escape social media. And I'll focus on what is bringing me joy. Like, forget the science, forget the ocean, forget. I live on an island. I'm very close to the sea. It's my home. It's my heart. It's all of that. So I'm not really trying to prove anything by being involved in marine science. It's just what is close to me. It's what I see every day and what I care about. But I needed to really tap into myself. Like, what are my skills? What am I good at? Where do I want to go? I've just spent 10 years building my nonprofit. It's not where I need it to be. It's still not financially stable. We still have a lot of work to do. And I have to decide on the future too. So yeah, like this year has been an experimental year for me, and it's part of the reason why I built the confidence to even come onto Substack. I've been like lurking in the background thinking, oh, I love, like, I'm a very visual person. So I buy the books because my dream is to have one of those like ceiling to floor bookshelves and have it like packed. So in my retirement, I could just sit and, read books and do art and stuff. But I I just I hardly read. I hardly have the time to really get stuck in. And so I found that Substack and some of the wonderful newsletters and very interesting people here who are just very passionate um, and experts in their own field in what they love. And I'm learning from them, and I'm hooked on the stories, and so that's where I kind of found myself being here, and then building the confidence to actually say, okay, I'm gonna start very much the same as I started my nonprofit. It's like, yep, we're gonna do this. Let's just get going. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's great. And here's the thing, like there's 8 people here listening to this conversation, which I love. So each person is learning a little bit more about what you're doing down there, and they can connect with you and I see that because I'm not that far from you in Florida. Like I'm in Florida and you're in the Caribbean or the Caribbean. And how do you prefer it to be pronounced?
Well, it doesn't matter. Caribbean. I say Caribbean.
Caribbean.
I
Caribbean.
say Caribbean. Yeah.
Um, but now these people can follow what you're doing, um, which I think is really fantastic. If, um, It's very interesting what you were talking about with oh, there's a couple things, and this is what happens to me in my little artsy brain. It gets going like a little hamster. I've got so many questions for you. Um, so when you decided to make that leap into Substack, and um, what is like why if you could talk about the couple of different pages that you like to that you show up for that's your pages. You have snapshots and stories, and so maybe let's talk about your Substack a little bit.
Okay, so I started my Substack. I started writing with intention, I think December last year. And I said, okay, I want to improve my writing skill. I don't think I take a long time to write. Um, and I wanted to improve my writing skill. And I wanted to begin to tell my story in a different way to a different audience. I really gravitated to the community of the artists and creatives here. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to write and I'm going to be consistent because I want to actually make a portfolio of my work too, right? So I want to have a place. I really should have it on my website, but the community around Substack felt endearing. So I began to do it, and I called it snapshots and stories because I love to take photographs. I'm taking photographs all the time, and that's how I started. Even being back home, is that I would document everything through photographs. Um, and I realized how beautiful and special that is because I never used to take photographs before. I never even had a camera, and I was very camera shy. Uh, I didn't even know how to explain how like crazy camera shy and not behind the camera I was, but I um I started because I wanted to take photographs. I want to tell stories about every photograph, and and then also kind of portfolio and share what I was learning through my work. Because again, like that's one of the reasons why I've come here because I was learning from other people. So I want to give back to the space because there might be people who want to connect to the environment and or even are interested in the science or to be like volunteer on programs or maybe want to shift their career or even think about how we can communicate differently to different audiences, like to be more inclusive in our even in our own sectors, right? So I wanted to share what I was learning and my journey because I'm from a small island, only 3,500 people. So Substack is a space for me to connect more with an international audience. To and I feel like the international audience is my family too, right? I think that I think that um sorry. I think that the I have I see myself. I know this sounds really cliche, but I see myself as part of like I don't see myself as being an island. I see myself as really truly being a citizen of this world. And as a result of that, like I the friendships and the collaborations and all the things I've had in this space, um, feels so much like family to me too, So it's yeah, it just feels very wholesome and right.
Yeah.
I
So
got a call that's now distracted me, but yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, no, no. So you have the snapshots and stories, and then you have created these the group the creative your creative friendship
Yes,
circle. Yes.
yes, yeah, and I didn't know. I was hoping for a cool name, but I'm not very good at cool names. See some names that people do, and I'm like, that's so perfect. But like, instead of like staying in my head about it, I was just like, what I want this thing to do is a creative community. I want it to be about friendship. I want us to get and to know each other on a deeper level. I feel like there's so much superficial stuff. I've lived in big cities, like you know, and 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 I just feel like what we may be lacking or where we have a gap that we can fill and that we do well in this community is building those friendships, like really taking the time to slow down, to, you say it very well, to care and be bothered to get to know somebody. This is something that I've taken from you. Like you're like, thank you so much for bothering to get to know me, or bothering to invite me. And and this is something that I think we could do so much more of. Like everything is not about money. Everything is not necessarily about, big numbers. I live in a small island. Of course, like our economy will sink if it doesn't have more people. Like we need to have at least another couple thousand people here. But at the same time, it's a constant balance because I can go to a beach and there's nobody on it. I want you to be able to come to a beach and feel that same intimacy, that same specialness, that uniqueness of what Montserrat is. Like if we invite like lots of cruise ships here, or we had a bigger international airport, the island will be inundated. So there's preciousness, there's a balance between what we want to conserve and protect and how we want to develop. But and it's all it's really hinging a lot around money. But that capitalist system is like something I don't even want to be part of anymore. Like it's broken. We know it's broken. Like, can we stop trying to plug holes in a leaky ship that is broken and it's going down and start building something different that
Yeah.
we want to feel? Do we want to feel safe in, that we want to feel supported in, that we want to feel loved in and nurtured in, and where we are one family, where we really care about people, we take time and to be bothered to invite people into our spaces. I'm more conscious now, and it really hits me, and I hear it when, like, even this morning I had a session. I had a session on the creative friendship circle, and it was with a friend of mine in China, and he can't connect through Google or Zoom or anything. So we do like on RedNote. And so we have our chat on RedNote, and we create, and which is their app in China. And we were doing our thing, and I was excited, and I kind of premeditated what I wanted to do. And then he stopped and asked, Vita, did you eat breakfast this morning? And I was like, no, Cunningham, I didn't eat breakfast this morning. And I'm so like, I feel like I'm almost overbooked. And so I felt like, okay, I felt like, and I,
Sometimes you overbooked.
I said, and then I was like, so I did my drawing. I did like, I wanted to do like a base paint thing in my journal. And I saw something on I saw something on RedNote that I wanted to try, which was like someone just like was making collage out of leaves, right? So like they just got leaves and they taped it on a piece of cardboard, and
Oh,
I
cool.
think it was really cool, right? So I was
Yeah.
doing all of that, and then when he asked me about breakfast, I was like, okay, Connor, let's take a break. We've got 5 minutes. So I went into the kitchen with my phone, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make eggs. So he was like, what do you like to eat for breakfast? So we went into a whole thing about Chinese food and Montserrat food, and I was just like, this is what it's about. And I was like, I wish I could have like more people, but at the same time, would I have had the chance to really get to know Cunningham on that level? And at the same time, him, me, and there was so much joy and satisfaction in the fact that, like, he was really paying attention to me, and I was listening, slowing down to
Yeah.
listen, because there has been periods of my life, even here in an island, because you think that the island is slow pace,
Yeah.
but really there's been so many times in my life where people are like, Vita, slow down, but I was like, I work for myself. I have a house to look after. I have my dogs to look after, my son to look after, my parents to look. Listen, I'm on the move, I'm on the move. I'm up 10, 15 hours a night if I have to. At one point, I was running a sustainable seafood restaurant. I had my tour business. I had all these things, nothing making a grand amount of money, but I was trying to work on all these revenue streams. Too much.
It's too much.
Too much. It's too much for everybody. It's too much for me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
too much for you. It
Yeah.
is too much for any human being. And
Yeah.
like, we all just need to slow down. I'm having people, like, I have colleagues who would message, you ask them a question, like, oh, they're like responding immediately,
Yes.
like, no matter
Yes.
day and night. And I'm like, I don't want to be that. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be respectful of your time and all
Yeah.
these things, but I don't want to feel like I have to respond boom immediately all the time. And
Right.
like, I have to take my attention away from my family, my joy, my happiness to just do the work thing. Like, can we just be human beings? So the community of the creative friendship circle is really about us taking time to be creative, because I believe, and I've proved it for my own self. And so in proving that doing art, being creative just spending time to slow down and share and to work on something is and to invest in ourselves and invest in what brings us joy is one of the most healing and transformative experiences that I have had, and it's really taken me through some very difficult periods in my life. And so I wanted to say, and sometimes I go into art groups with people like yourself, like professional artists, and everybody's like knows all the rules. So I didn't do art in school, so I have no idea about the rules. I have to watch and kind of copy the style and then figure out how I want my style to be, and or I just kind of like randomly do it, which looks like a stick man or a stick woman.
Yeah,
And
who
so
cares?
I a
Who
stick
cares?
thing, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then, yeah, but I used to have
Sick
a
people
real
need lives too. Yeah.
yes, I would have such a hang up. And then I was like, how do I create a space for people like me who are not professional but really passionate about the thing and just want to be in there? So we could have professionals in there, we can have like technical, creative people in there, but it could just be anybody who has a dream or a wish to be more creative, to slow down, to build community, to figure out what other people are doing, and to really take time to understand and to a friend of mine described the because we do some prompts this month. A friend of mine described those as a like if art strategy and visioning had a baby, and it's because like the prompts we use are not typical prompts for like art groups, but it's really kind of allowing us to slow down, to delve deeper into who we are, what we want, where we at, what we bring to the table, what we want to, what makes us happy in life. It also forces us to go in nature. There's one prompt which even helped me to get back out in nature because I live very close to the beaches, but sometimes life just means that I'm behind the computer. I'm kind of thinking more, and I'm maybe even being a bit lazy. So I haven't been out. But one prompt was like, go out to your favorite nature spot and observe it, and you know just create
I
around
love that. I love that
right?
one.
And so
I love that one.
that's been driving me a lot, and it helps bring such clarity to me as well. So yeah, like even in this process this month, I was petrified of paint. Like I like black and white drawings, like line drawing, and
Yeah.
I feel I can manage this, and then I could dab a little color here and there to just accentuate it, and I feel like I'm done. You can see on my on
Yeah.
my banner, like I just cut something out of a journal. But I love that. But this month, when we're doing our 30-day creative challenge, which is journaling in public, and that could mean anything you want it to mean, because there's no rules and there's no expectation and there's no nothing in this group. You just come and show up. But I I was so precious about the pens. Like I have these Posca pens and I have to think. I used to think about what do I want to draw, sketch it out, think about it properly, research it, look at other people. And then maybe 2 years passes, I tell you no lie, and I haven't touched the Posca pens, I haven't done anything.
Oh,
And this this one, and then I would buy things. Like I love to go to I love to go to galleries, I love to go to art shops when I'm away and just buy stuff that's really precious. But I'm so precious about it. Like I won't touch them because I don't feel confident. I'm scared. I think I'm going to mess them up. I don't know what to put in the book. So then I just like, I'm going to make trashies. I'm going to make trashies. I basically make trash journals, old pieces of paper. So I'm not precious about it. There's some paper that
I
I'm
love
precious
that.
about, but like I have one right here and I just
Yeah, let's
made it.
see.
It's like an old art cover book from like, it's just old pieces of paper that
Yeah,
my son and it's like an art, it's like a trash zine almost like I'm making, and it's also a journal. I use it for journaling. So I took down like pieces from my vision board. It costs a fortune to print anything here, so I'm very precious about
sure,
papers.
sure, sure.
Also I just I put like old sketches and photos
Yeah.
that I love. Like I was visioning my house to be something like this, or someplace I would holiday to be something like this. I I have like this little tagline for myself. I was thinking, make waves, shape change, and get paid. And then like I have this whole security tag for this DHL that I got, and in there I have Hong Kong and Thailand because I want to get
Go
near.
there.
I have all like old photos from when we had COVID and I was freaking out about it, but it was a very bad time for me. And so I kind of like reflect on that. I have like, my GoPro stickers from Like two of my GoPros drowned. I redesigned our clubhouse this year.
Did you? I'm sorry, you said your GoPro's drowned.
Yeah, I have GoPros, like underwater cameras.
Oh, there's the camera. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, your
I
camera's
didn't know
drowned
what I heard.
this year.
Okay,
No, no, no.
okay. Yeah, yeah, not a pro.
Nobody
Okay,
else,
yeah,
but
yeah, gotcha,
but
gotcha.
those. And then I also have a clubhouse for our nonprofit. And so that clubhouse is like a little wooden shack on the beach. And this year I converted it into a kind of live and workspace. So if you want to support our program, you want to come to Montserrat, you can come and hang out there. And it's literally on the beach. And so like I had three builders there to help me. Because I kind of just decided that we're gonna go for it, stuck up little pictures and said, I have to have a plan. Otherwise, these guys are going to just tell me, no, it can't be done and do it their own way. So I want it to be done my way. So I just kind of like drafted this thing and it was my guide for myself so that I knew what I wanted. So I didn't get taken all over the world on the plan. And so it's all of that. And then like, and then there's like some other stuff. Like today I was this is what I've been kind of trying to be confident with my painting on. Like just, you know, affirmations. I did this one in your group,
Yeah, that's
you
fantastic. Yeah, I
know.
remember that one. Yeah, with the
Yeah.
pelican. Yeah,
Yes. And it was all about flying in stillness.
flying is.
So yeah, like these make me happy. It makes me
Um,
happy.
yeah. Um, Vita, I loved our so I loved joining your group on Sunday. Not that I can do I not if when I on Sundays when I'm free, I'd love to join in. But what I loved about joining your group was for people who don't live by the water or if they long to be by the water. It was so great. You did two things. One, you took us on a walk of your neighborhood, which I was like, you can just it just brought me there with you. You were walking down the path. You went by the houses. You walked, I think, maybe by a dog, and then you end up on this beach, and you showed us the turtle mounds that are there and the sand, and you talked about this quality of the sand on your island, and that I thought was a precious gift. And in your creative friendship circle, I was thinking about your title more, and I'm like, the title's perfect as it is because that's what it does. It's a creative friendship circle. It brings people together through creativity, and that nobody has to know anything. I think I'm on this is a huge mission of mine is to demystify the art process, demystify the meditation process. It's like you just show up and you do it, and who cares how good it is? You're just with your creative friendship circle, you don't care. And you have a goal of getting people together creatively to create a friendship circle, and it's happening. And so I invite the 11 people who are watching right now, if you guys have some free time on a Sunday to join, I'd also like to try to join in if it's open and meet your friend Chamberlain in China. Like, I don't have any friends in China. I don't know anybody. I know somebody from Hong Kong, but I don't have a lot of experience of people from China. So that would be great to learn about. I'd never even heard about Red Note today. I don't know also why I'm chattering here. If any of the 12 people that have joined, if you guys have questions for Vita, you can type them up and I will get them answered. Um, so please think about that if you have something to ask her. Um, and again, all of her, um, there's going to be a full extensive written interview that she's answered questions that's going to appear on my Substack, and I'll share it with Vita, and Vita will share it probably on her page about how she discovered her creative side, how is creativity important in her upbringing. Um, and as people, if you are formulating your questions, um, what else I wanted to say is that, or what I'd ask you is, what if you had, if you like won the lottery, or if you had a magic checkbook, what are like three things that you need for your program for Fish and Fins?
Uh, One
I,
is for fish and fins, we need transportation.
mhm.
So we need a truck because my car keeps breaking down like every 2 minutes, and it's what I use to do everything. And right now, it's not even going to sustain the next season. And I can't buy another one right now. I've got the commitments in terms of rent and like my home, like where I live. But for Fish and Fins transportation, because that would allow us to get our volunteers around me to work. It'll help us to be able to check and monitor our beach stewardship for the next turtle season. And we also would benefit from uh we would benefit from collaborating with artists. Because this is a really big piece for me. Like, how do we transcribe our research work into art? Because this, I think, is more freeing. And people are less worried about the doom and more thinking differently. Opens your mind and your heart up differently to the solutions. And so that's a big thing. So I would love to have some money so I can commission lots of lots of interesting collaborations. Um, but another thing would be, um, you know, I think it's just really being able to have regular donations. Let's just say that, because I need to pay people. I need to pay myself, but I also need to pay our volunteers a stipend. So the projects are stipend supported. And we're in a position in the world right now where things people could have afforded to do for free, it can't be done for free anymore. And this is at
Sure.
risk of jeopardizing our whole program
Yeah.
because the importation, like there's a 50% importation. So if I buy a GoPro camera, underwater camera for 300 US, it is likely that it could come into the island at 600 US. I would then have to get some sort of special duties so I can reduce it. But you're looking at food having the same impact, materials, anything. So you're looking at additional cost. The cost of living as it is globally is going up. So for us, we're feeling it extra because 80% of what we're getting here is imported.
Sure.
So, that's the situation. So I would want to be able to do that. And one of my dreams for next year is to be able to build a hatchery. So we want to be able to open donations so we can actually build a hatchery here. And a hatchery, for those of you who don't know, is like, here we have small beaches, but we are an area that is special for the critically endangered hawksbill turtle around the world. And these turtle eggs every year are getting washed away. So every time you hear me post about a storm and the sea surges increase and the coastal energy is increasing, then that means the eggs are washing out. So every year, almost all of those eggs wash out or die, and they don't hatch into new ones.
Yeah.
So that means that globally, remember these are shared. They're not just monstration sea turtles. We share these species. Sometimes we share individuals, maybe even with Miami. And so we want to make sure there's no point in Miami doing a fantastic job at having a sanctuary or having a hospital and all these things for turtles, but then they get to Montserrat and then the eggs wash out. So
Right.
it needs to be a coordinated effort, and we would love to be able to, in my organization, pay people to be able to manage the hatchery, to build the hatchery in the first place, manage the hatchery, and to be able to help save and protect some of those eggs. That would go a really, really long way. But more than that, it would give our organization a project that we can be centered on. So it helps us to sustain and to create longevity, because out of that, then when people come to visit, I've just invited you to Montserrat before, right? So when you
Yeah.
come to visit, I could take you on a tour, and I could
Yeah.
show you not just the turtles in the water, I can take you on a nest tour. And then when we take you on the next tour, we might be able to offer you like a t-shirt. And then we may be able to take you to the hatchery. And if you come at the right time of year, we'll be able to release them together. You could even adopt a turtle. And so you can see all the different ways we can create
Yeah.
revenue streams. But,
Yeah.
before I used to teach children to swim. Swim and snorkel. And that was the biggest part of what we did. But we couldn't get grant support and all these things because, the world is such a messed up place. That's why I'm telling you that we need to create new systems, because the way a funder would look at teaching capacities, building capacity and education is not the same way they look at preserving wildlife. Preserving
Sure.
wildlife is out there and people are down here.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk right now about leveling up people, but it's talk without action.
Yeah.
So, we 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 need to think more viably and sustainably. And so these are the things. So I'm sorry for being so
Yeah.
long-winded.
No, no, that's
Somebody
great.
mentioned a GoFundMe,
Yeah,
but
Margaret
I don't
Williams
know.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
have you thought about that? Have you done, I know there's besides GoFundMe, there's another one that I've seen Megan, Dr. Megan talk about. It's similar to GoFundMe, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
If somebody knows
I
what that is, Margaret might know what that is.
I don't have a GoFundMe, but what we do have is if you look at aquafishandfins.com, our webpage, there is a PayPal and you can make donations through PayPal there.
Sure. Sure.
Um, and so that's really supportive. And then just supporting me to sustain the work is like subscribing to my Substack, because my newsletter, like it's free, but if you want to make a donation, then it helps me keep going and telling these stories and raising awareness, because that alone, like connecting to people, sometimes you will connect to the right people, the right collaboration, the right team that makes a difference. And it's a donation via PayPal, because Stripe and things like this doesn't
Yeah.
work in Montserrat because we don't have an international bank,
Ah,
but
yeah.
we do have a British connection. And because of that British connection, we can get PayPal. So that's the
Okay.
one way. Otherwise, it's just too difficult. So most things don't
Yeah.
work right here. Like you would have to
Okay.
go to the bank and do a wire transfer. And so it's kind of like creates a barrier for people to be able to easily access how to fund us. But
Sure.
what works right now is donations through PayPal, and you can get that via the website, or you can also there's a link on my about page at the bottom that says you can donate to sustaining the work.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how we live and survive here. And yeah, creativity is just extra splash of happiness to allow us to thrive no matter what is going on, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And just
I
mhm.
was thinking that like what maybe we could do is if there was we could talk more about this after the call here today, but if there is a creative arts group or if there's an art collaboration that you'd like to do with the kid, like what do you know kind of loosely, because you have a son who's a teenager, how what's the child population?
Here in
Yeah.
Montserrat,
Yeah.
we have about um in the school system we have about 600.
Oh, wow. That's decent sized.
Yeah, yeah, we have
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
600 in terms of youth,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So
So I was thinking, like, so if you want to do some collaboration with artists too, it could be online until in my life I can actually physically get down there to meet you and hang out with you, which I look forward to. That's also now on my life list. But is that maybe there's a way for also anyone else who's online, if they have something special that they would like to share or teach and they want to volunteer their time to do that. I did this one time with the UK where I hooked up with a teacher there and we ran an online class like through through a video call, and I led the class, and she had the video going in the classroom, and um, it just took some of the things that I was interested in and led a creative arts class with the students in the UK. So maybe that's something that you and I can talk about for the future as far as if there are kids that are involved in your program or kids that want to sign up for like an art class, I can lead it from here and we can just do it through the Zoom call and we can also do a follow-up and because I would be over the moon to work with some of the kids that or your son or whoever's interested in like we can give the supply list at a time, or we can give a prompt just like we do together as adults. We can do that for a group of kids. Um, if
that would
that's
be
serving a certain
wonderful.
certain
Yes.
purpose. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
something I think would be really fun. Um, there was something um so then the kids swimming program, I think that's really fascinating because I know um do all the kids that are living there now, how do they have access to that swimming program? Or they just kind of learn to swim as they can, or
Yeah, we don't other people are doing swimming programs now. We did it for 10 years and we stopped. It was very high. Um it was not only high risk, but it's also takes a lot of resource. So we did it for 10 years and we've kind of come out of that now and focusing more on the children who have kind of grown in the program, and who already have the capacity to swim. And maybe we do some who, if they're in the program and they don't know how to swim, we will do some one-to-one work so they can strengthen their ability. But this is coming from community support. So we're not like the trained and qualified swimmers or anything like this. It's just a lot of people like between divers or fishers and things like this who have a strong capacity and very they have their a water safe.
Water
That
safety.
means
Yeah.
that we are able to work with them, but it's something that we've slowed down doing because it's created a lot of anxiety in me, like
Oh,
even though the kids are doing a really great job and it looks beautiful, like you can look on YouTube and or Instagram and you'll see Fish and Fins Inc. and you'll see our that's Fish and Fins, like the letter N for November. And then you'll see a lot of videos. And so it looks awesome. But imagine myself as the director. I am thinking about every possible thing that can go wrong at any particular time, all the
mhm.
time. I'm counting
Yeah.
hens like with 50, 25 children in the water, and they're in the
Yeah.
ocean because we don't have a pool. So we
Yeah.
don't do that like that anymore. And other people are, taking up a mantle in continuing to do that work. And if they have the funding and the resource, great. But for us, we are working on smaller groups because another thing I've learned is that it looks great to have. We used to have like every summer we run a camp for at least 75 children, right? Um, and I'm talking primary school age children.
Okay.
And and when we did that, um, so yeah, when we did that, it's awesome, and there's a lot of children and lots of learning going on. There's a lot of things to keep track of. I personally believe, and maybe this is age talking, but I personally believe it is equally, if not more impactful, when you select 10 of the children who really, really are passionate, like they're reading their like marine biology books, like it's their comic book, you know, or they're dreaming, like they're heavily dreaming about being a marine scientist and they want to create opportunities where they can learn more.
Yeah.
So when you have people who are so super um, energized or talented, there was a young man in our program who dad had drowned in Jamaica, and he ended up loving the ocean so much. I thought he would be scared, but he wasn't. He's like a
Yeah.
really strong diver. There's my son's friends who are a little bit older, like 15, 16, who can dive to about 30, 25 feet, and free dive. And so, at least one of them could do this. So, when you have those kind of children who are showing talent, natural ability, passion, and drive, I think working with them, and that's what our new STEAM program is focusing to do, is to really zone in on creating like the future trainers, right? So these are the next set of cohorts um, of of trainers for Fish and Fins that will be able to carry on the legacy of the program, who will be able to inspire and work with others, and also be able to assist and train other people as well. And at the same time, they're developing the criteria for college access to college and further education. And if not, and we're able to successfully land a hub here for our turtle work where we can have uh, a, a hatchery and we could create a little hub around our turtle science work, then those who are underemployed and unemployed would be able to be put into that program.
Sure.
They would have learned along the way. So this is the kind of things that I'm thinking about most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting what you talked about before because I was like, well, did you go to school? And I think people ask me that all the time too about art. Like, well, I haven't had the training. I haven't gone to school. And the older I get, and I've been saying this for like the last 10 years or more, is that you don't, if you just love something, then just throw yourself into it, right? You don't have to worry about how good it is or how professional it looks or how precious it is or like all these things that we like hold ourselves back because we're like, I don't want to fail or I don't want to look stupid or whatever these dumb things that we come up and we say about ourselves because we think this reflection of us, really. And it's just, I love that you loved marine biology and just threw yourself into it. And I say the same thing about art all the time, which is just what these little creative circles can do for people is that if you like the idea of being creative, or you're curious about painting, or you're curious about art, just start playing with it. It's like I was talking about play with Margaret, and we were talking about play with Dr. Megan, we were talking about play with Claudia Reynard this morning, is that it's just as we become old and we become adults, become older, we get so stuck in this thing of having been grown-ups and being serious, and we got to take ourselves seriously. And yes, the world and planet has all of these serious problems. We're all painfully aware of how serious everything is. And it's like then we people get stuck there, and then they don't allow themselves to come back and have play and make this beautiful little book that you made that's sitting on the table in front of you, like this precious little book that is your thoughts and designs and ideas. And so I think you're this wonderful inspiration for people to join your creative friendship circle and to pursue the things they love. And look at how many people that you've helped just because you had this idea and this thought and this mind, and living on a small island, you're like, I'm doing it anyway. And I just think that's just, you have such a wonderful story. And I'm so happy that we've connected because you inspire me like every day I see your face. I think it's so fantastic.
Thank you so
Ah,
much. And you're so right. We I hope for us all to realize the power that and the power for influence, for change, for transforming and creating within ourselves. Like that's so true. Like you don't have to wait for permission. We don't have to wait for all the pieces of the puzzle. And I'm relearning that now through art, and through being more creative. But yeah, like just start with where you're at with what you have,
yeah.
and the universe opens the doors. And I'm a testament. Like I'm telling you, like I had not a penny because I had actually my pregnancy was horrific pregnancy. I had a fibroid. I had to go off the island to get medical treatment. I was on bed rest for 6 months. So I had to spend a fortune of my savings, all of it, before I gave birth to my son. So by the time I had my son and I came back to do my program, I had nothing,
Mm.
right? And to the point that in 2019, Scientific American highlighted Fish and Fitness as an organization you should know and support, right? So
Oh,
that's coming
wow.
from nobody and nothing to
Yeah.
that. Um, and so, yeah, like I really, really believe that we have to tap into that inner strength, that inner power, and point I wanted to make is the influence of our own circle, right? I don't know who says this. I think there is some famous writer who I can't remember what book this might have come from, but it's basically saying that when we're overwhelmed by all the bigness of things that are happening, there's so many global challenges, geopolitical challenges, and all those things. Focusing on what we can do, what makes us happy, what our skills are, what we're good at, and then look for what's in the middle there, like what's really speaking to our soul, and do it. And when you think about how can I make change, like what can you do for yourself and the person next to you, the person that you're talking to, like what can you do within your circle of influence? And if we create little circles and we can influence those circles, the ripple effect is could be phenomenal.
Yeah.
More than what we believe. And even if we influence just one person in a positive direction, we could be transforming lives. We could be saving lives, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and sharing process. Like, can we share more process? Like, a lot of people just go through and like at the end, they're gonna see this fantastic piece of work. Like they'll see a beautiful art that's maybe in somebody's home, a villa, or it has been purchased, and you'll be posting it up and sending it out. But we haven't seen where you began, where you made mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
We want to
Yeah.
see the mistakes. We want to see it's like more humbling. It's more like achievable. It's more like, okay, so you can make mistakes, you can mess up that color, and you can still keep going. Oh, that's the thing. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's just
it's
like your
like,
life. It's like our lives, you know.
yeah.
They can all turn to mud into, scrap and everything else in between. And then you just keep painting. It's like Dory. You just keep swimming. You just keep swimming. You just keep swimming.
That's
And
it.
I
At
love,
one point, that
I,
was my mantra: keep swimming,
was it?
just keep swimming. At one
Oh,
point, that
yeah.
was my mantra when I didn't know anything about anything and I just didn't know how it was going to all connect. I just kept saying, Vita, keep swimming, just keep swimming.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, well, Vita, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you today. Thanks for there's like 15 people and that had just joined. Thanks everybody for joining in. If you guys have any last questions, please post them because we've been talking about an hour and I like to kind of keep it to an hour. But so this recording, this conversation, I'm going to drop on the blog with all of your questions, with links to hey, with links to your nonprofit and links to your Substack. And when is your next Creative Friendship Circle?
It's Sunday at 9. And sorry, oh no, so it's Sunday at 1 p.m. AST, so Caribbean time. I'm in Montserrat. So it goes from 1 to 2. And then we also meet with friends in China on Wednesday, and that's 9 o'clock, 9 to 10. So it's just before your
Yeah.
session.
Yeah.
Um, and it's
I
my
might try to.
creative. I've decided Wednesdays is my creative day because I need to go to your session as well. So I'm doing it
Yeah.
all on the
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Okay, awesome. Well, so my creative Be Free Pathways is every other Wednesday. So the 22nd, if I am free, which is next Wednesday. And I discovered too, I think that Eastern Standard Time is also AST, right? I believe we're the same thing. Because you told me that's one time I need to figure that out because when you one time you had posted 1 o'clock AST, and I was like early or late to log in. So I need to confirm that if anybody knows that. But maybe AST and EST are an hour apart. Maybe it's the same thing. I'm
We
gonna
need to double check. We need to double
we need
check
to
that.
double check because I would love to join your and what's the Wednesday group called?
This is when we do our it's a 30-day challenge and we do our
Okay,
check-in. But it's really kind of like the same thing. We just kind of check in with each other, and I'm finding that it's better for people who are on the other side of the world that we also love to chat to. So
sure.
it's better for them to do it because it's 9 o'clock their time in the night.
Right. Okay. So, but now if that's a 30-day program, can other people join in on that
Yeah,
or do they have to? Yeah.
anytime.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Anytime.
And they can find these links or the ways to log in on your Substack.
Yes.
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 And I'll copy that and put that on uh, my blog post with you. But if there aren't any more questions for today, Vita, it's just been such a pleasure talking with you. Every time we get together, it's really inspiring. So I appreciate seeing you, and hopefully I get to see you on Sunday. Anyone else watching, if you guys want to join Vita's Creative Friendship Circle, her next Creative Friendship Circle is Sunday, October 19th at 1
PM
AST, 1
AST.
p.m. AST. I just need to figure out what AST is. But
Yeah. I
yes,
yeah,
don't worry,
that's
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
figure
Okay.
out. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks
All
everyone
right.
for joining,
Thank
and we'll talk to you
you.
soon. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye bye.